Thank you.
So when I said 7 chapters in 7 minutes, I just thought it sounded cool, and then I thought, oh my God, I've actually got to write something that's 7 chapters in 7 minutes. So we're going to see how that goes. But I'm going to start a little bit differently, and I asked Pauli before, wherever Pauli's gone, at number 1 or number 2. There are 2 versions of this 7 minutes. Pauli chose number 2, which is the vulnerable version of this 7 minutes. So please bear with, nobody's heard this before. Does anybody know who that lady is? No. Really? Oh my goodness. Nora Batty. Jennifer will know. Nora Batty, you remember her? So this lady, Nora Batty, is from a comedy show in the UK called Last of the Summer Wine. She's a judgmental, boring, wants to keep you safe individual who stands and looks at you going, you don't want to do that. You might die. Don't do that. Don't take any risks. She's the voice in my head. That's who talks to me quite a lot. And what we're going to do in the next 6 minutes and 4 seconds, apparently now, is go through this meandering journey of me fighting with her and my soul. Let's take a breath. This is my definition of starting over. It's a poem from October 2019, just before I started again. I am driven by an inescapable calling to create connection and change. Tell the stories that people can't see and build connections between senses, feelings, and unspoken words along the untrodden, unknown path of tomorrow. I just know. This knowing sparks the start of a story that is yet to be written, and the elements come together to form a story that no one has told. Together we create beautiful diamond-laden chapters out of uneven lumps of coal and pebbles. The alchemy speaks when the chapter is finished. There is a call to move on. A faint song whispers quietly in my ear, guiding me to my next destination. I know, I see, I sense, and I feel it all. But I keep digging in because polishing diamonds feels safe. Who's to say that coal and pebbles will alchemize again? But I cannot and I will not ignore the song in my ear. The song creates relentless waves of incessant emotions, growing higher and deeper, louder, and they're all-consuming. My soul listens curiously to answer, slowly singing along to the familiar tune. The craving of my mind for stability is as ever-present as the breath I take. Sometimes the song of my soul wins and I grow, and sometimes the word of my mind, of safety, and Nora Batty, wins, and I take a great fall before I grow again. Thank you. In October 2019, I've got slides behind me, we're not going to use them. In October 2019, I was sat in a place where I couldn't understand why I was so affected by the stories of the customers that I was working with in Avanti Finance. I am an ex-CEO of a finance company. We won some awards, we did some cool stuff. I am a recovering accountant. I hate numbers with a passion, but I love people and I love patterns and I love story. And in every day, I saw the story of pain, of what financial services can do to people. I believe that people are good. And I believe that a bad thing can happen to any of us. And I believe that the current system judges people for what life inherently is, which is unpredictable. And that's where that poem came from. And in a moment, this matrix moment that happened over a bridge, and there are slides for this, but we're just not going to show them, I think. Can you imagine driving over the harbour bridge And I was really, in my belly, I was anxious and I was scared, and I couldn't understand why I was so affected by these customers. Because on the face of it, I am a middle class white woman. I'm English, I'm educated, and how bloody dare I think that I can empathise with the stories of our customers. And then I realised the elements of those stories of those customers are parts of my own story. I had a mental breakdown at 29 when I worked for law enforcement as a forensic accountant. Great place to have a nervous breakdown. Does that make me a bad person? Nope. I was a good person that a bad thing happened to. What did that mean? It meant that I nearly lost my job, my career, I did lose my marriage, and I lost a few friends along the way. My mum was an amazing person. She died an alcoholic. Does that make her a bad person? No. She was a good person who created, some amazing life experiences for me. But a bad thing happened. Addiction happened to her. And my dad, he was a bus driver, still alive. He's coming to see me soon. But Dad, has this, I'm looking at Jennifer because she's my best friend from the UK. My dad's, Peter Pan, in fact. My dad's Peter Pan, believed that his business was going to work, and it failed. The reason it failed was because my granddad died unexpectedly. So my dad needed to go and run the farm, milk the cows. What that meant was that we hid behind sofas, away from debt collectors. So I experienced the harm that these things can happen. So in 46 seconds, in March 2020, I left the corporate job. I decided I was going to set up a thing called Sweetspot. Wasn't quite sure what it was, but I knew that we needed to do better. And this is what I wrote in October of 2019, and this is what we're still building today, and we are going live in 20 days as the first digital social lender in New Zealand, the place that recognises that people are good and bad things happen, and that a person's value is way more than the cash in their pocket. It's way more than that, and the system can acknowledge that. So this is what I wrote. 10 seconds. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I have to hold it here. October 2019. I commit to starting a movement that changes the focus of financial services for all. This will be the human-centred financial inclusion movement of Sweetspot. The movement will change the approach of debt collection and lending for generations to come, where the human instead of the technology comes back to the centre, recognising that life is unpredictable and fragile, and to expect a human to navigate their financial life like a predictable robot is not only unachievable, but it's madness. I know and I feel that this movement will become a reality. Sweetspot will be a place where people take charge of their lives, moving through rather than being defined by debt. It will become the norm and will become a statement of, why didn't we always do it this way? Thank you.